So today we're taking a look at the Cobra EEL. So let's check him out. Okay, so it's been a couple of days too, because this week, for us it's been kind of hectic. My grandmother's had to go out of the ER a couple of times because, like I explained in the video, she fell and broke her hip, and then come to find out she also broke her arm. Thankfully, it wasn't broke as bad. She didn't have surgery actually on her hip. So it's been kind of hectic past couple of days. But so I'm finally getting back with another review today, and today I'm doing a review on the classified series Cobra EEL. And I've had this figure for I think maybe since last Christmas, before last Christmas. I can't remember which one I got it in, but I've had it for a while. And I did review Torpedo, which was it's the equivalent to this figure, which is it's been quite a while ago now. So without further ado, let's get into his accessories. Okay, so for as in weapons, we don't get anything new. This is he comes with a knife, which is the same knife that came with Torpedo. So if I get Torpedo's out over here, and you see it's the same exact knife and blade and everything. The only difference is Torpedo's has a darker red on the handle, while the Cobra EEL's is more of a lighter red. It matches more of the outfit on the Cobra EEL, so that's probably why they done that. And the Cobra EEL has a sheath in a different spot too. The Torpedo's had his up here on his leg. The Cobra EEL has his down here on his left ankle, so you can store that in there when it's not in use, which is pretty cool. Now that's that detail on the vintage figures, so that's probably why they done it this way. So it comes with a harpoon, which this is the same kind of harpoon that came with Torpedo, except a few little differences. It's the same black color, but Torpedo's has a yellow loop, while the Cobra EEL has a blue loop. And the tips are different too. Torpedo's is got like a silver tip, and the Cobra EEL has a gold tip on his. And Torpedo's is more of a pliable plastic. You can see that's why his is kind of warped when you get out of the package. The Cobra EEL's is kind of hard, as you can see. It don't flex like Torpedo's. So, but that kind of helps it from getting warped in the package, because my Torpedo harpoon is still somewhat warped. It's still not straight like it's supposed to be. I almost forgot to mention, but after some finagling, you can get this into his hand, which just looks pretty cool. So as you can see, the Cobra EEL also does come with his own pair of flippers. As you can see, these are used to when swimming in water. These are the same flippers that came with Torpedo, as you can see. Just the only difference is Torpedo's has some red paint on them, while the Cobra EEL's are all black. So as you see, pretty much the same thing. You could interchange these if you want to. The red don't quite match with the Cobra EEL, but that probably would look cool if it was the same red. He also comes with his scuba tank, which scuba stands for self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. So as you can see, it's not exactly the same as Torpedo's, which show you here on Torpedo's back. It's a little bit different. It's kind of the same mold, but actually the bottom on the Cobra EEL's is different. It's got a different thing that propels into the water, which I don't think is removable like on the vintage one. I could be wrong, but I'm not gonna try to take it off if it's not supposed to, because I don't want to break it. But you can put this on the Cobra EEL's back. There's a hole there. You peg it in like so. It's also you can peg the hoses in from coming off his helmet, into the back of the scuba tank. So now he's getting oxygen as he's in the water. So that's pretty cool. So let's quickly go over his articulation. So he has a ball joint at the head, a hinge and swivel there at the shoulder, a double hinge at the elbow there, a hinge there and a swivel at the wrist. Got some pretty good ab crunch articulation. He's got some articulation at the neck joint there too. He's got a swivel there, like a ball joint there at the waist. Got a ball joint there at the hip, a swivel at the hip there, a double bend at the knee there, and some ankle cut articulation, and a hinge and ankle pivot. So let's go over the scope, design, and color of the Cobra EEL, starting with his head. So as you can see, it's got the standard Cobra EEL helmet on, which is a trademark of the Cobra EEL. It's gray, mostly gray. It's got some black accents and a gold accent there at the top. It's also got the hoses where the oxygen comes off from the scuba tank to the helmet, so the Cobra EEL can breathe underwater. It's got some kind of antenna, but there's probably, I would assume, it's probably communication, so you can communicate with other Cobra EELs and Cobra officers and things like that. And see on the back, there's also some more blood details there. Now the helmet can be removed, which you remove the helmet, And as you can see, it's got like a black balaclava on under there, which is a little bit different than the head that came with Torpedo. So if I bring Torpedo in here, as you can see, Torpedo's head is quite a bit different. You can see Torpedo's whole face, while most of the Cobra EEL is covered up. So that is pretty standard for Cobra officers. We don't see their faces, but I mean they're supposed to be generic, so I mean that ain't no big deal. But you see going down the more down his chest here, you can see he's got like the thing around his neck, like the vintage Cobra EEL had. It's mostly gray, got like a red detail there in the middle. Some black straps holding it onto his body there. See, it comes down the back with some more black straps and everything. It looks pretty cool. Now, this figure obviously reuses a lot of parts from Torpedo, because I mean, they all wear a very similar outfit. But now his arms are a little bit different. He's got some shoulder pads on his arms that Torpedo didn't have. He's also got some wrist gauntlets that Torpedo also doesn't have. So his arms are a little bit different. He's got the same chest there as Torpedo, except he's got a Cobra logo in the middle of his. Torpedo obviously doesn't. Torpedo is also black on each end and white in the middle. This one's got red, and stuff. So kind of to mimic the vintage toy. But as you can see, going down his waist is also different than Torpedo's. He's got a lot of belts and things on there. It's supposed to look like the vintage one. A lot of black details in it and everything. The belts come up around his waist and everything, as you can see, which looks pretty cool. Looks like he's wearing two belts. We're in there, which is I think is also different than Torpedo's. His legs are the same as Torpedo and everything. Same with his boots and everything. It's same exact thing as Torpedo, except his knife sheath's on his left leg now at the bottom instead of being at the top there. So for comparison time, here is this new classified Cobra EEL compared to my vintage Cobra EEL there, as you can see, which my vintage figure is 100% complete. I even have the file card. I actually have the whole card back, and which that's somewhere in storage. I don't know exactly where it's at, but I'll find it eventually. But so you can see, it's basically an updated version of that vintage figure, and which one of these I prefer? Probably the vintage one, because I prefer vintage figures over newer ones. But which vintage Cobra EELs can be very expensive, because a lot of times that breathing tube that goes on his helmet there is often missing. That part's very expensive too. So I'm lucky mine still has it. So here is the Cobra EEL, the classified Cobra EEL compared to the classified Torpedo, which like I said, is the G.I. Joe equivalent to the Cobra EEL. And Torpedo did come with a gun, as you can see here. And that was kind of a missed opportunity with the Cobra EEL. They should have gave him a gun too. But if you have some other Cobra, soldiers or figures that have guns that they can't all store or hold, you can always give one to the Cobra EEL. That's an easy fix to that. But the Snow Serpent came with a bunch of guns and he can't store or hold. But now, Torpedo's gun didn't actually come with this silencer on it right there. That actually came off one of Tomax's Amont's MP5s. But that actually looks really cool on there. So that's if you have an extra suppressor, you can put one on Torpedo's gun. That, like I said, that looks really cool. So lastly, here is the Cobra EEL compared to some other Cobra infantrymen that I have. So on the very end right here, I have the standard Cobra soldier. Right beside him is the Cobra officer, then the Cobra EEL, obviously. And then right here in the very end is the Snow Serpent, which is, Cobra's, Arctic, assault trooper. And now, which one of these I like the best? That's kind of a hard one. I actually like all of these. And all these are good army builders too. You can get multiples of these, and you can have like a pretty cool selection. Cobra's infantry. You have different infantrymen for different things. Like you have the standard trooper, and then you have the commander for the trooper. You wouldn't have as many of these as you would a standard soldier, because there's going to be more standard soldiers than there are officers. There's going to be less officers. They're in command, and then you have the eel for your underwater diving purposes, and then you have your, like I said, your Arctic trooper that's dressed for a really cold environment. That's why his outfit is a lot thicker and bulkier than the others, because in Arctic environments, none of these would survive. Although in water he might would, but he would need to get dressed pretty quickly if he was going to be out in the snow. But still pretty cool stuff. So what do I think of this figure overall? I really like this figure, and like I said, it does reuse a lot of parts, but like I said, that makes sense for this figure, because like I said, they're both designed for the same purposes. So they just buy on the opposite side. But like I said, he didn't have really any new accessories except his his unique helmet and his scuba tank being a little bit different on the bottom. But all the other accessories were the same. So I wish they could have given a little different accessories that made him a little more unique. But other than that, this is a pretty good figure, and I like the Cobra EEL. That vintage one is one of my favorites. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. That helped me a lot. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Till next time.